science experiment class with me, Ilma and Nabila. So, how are you today? I hope you are always good and happy. I want to ask you something. Did you see the moon last night? What does the shape look like? Is it look like this or this? Have you ever noticed that the moon changes as the days go by? Sometimes it looks like a small light in the sky or like a big glowing ball, or even we cannot see the moon at all. Well, actually, the moon doesn't change the shape, but only the appearance of the moon changes when viewed from the earth. The various way the moon looks is called the phases of the moon. Sometimes, during the phases of the moon, we can experience something very unusual, which is an eclipse. I'm sure all of you must be wondering about this, right? Because that is the topic of our discussion and experiment today. The Moon-Tastic phases. Student, I want to show you about the core competences and basic competences for this experiment. Here it is. In this experiment, we expect students are able to observe various phases of the moon and able to practice the simulation of the moon revolution and the eclipse. So, before we conduct the experiment, make sure that all of you already have the worksheet, okay? Are you ready? Let's get started! Do you guys want to learn more about eclipse? Let's take a look at this video first. This is about the 2015 lunar eclipse. So please watch carefully and don't forget to check your worksheet. Enjoy watching! Now is the time for you to answer these following questions. Student, we have two kinds of eclipse, which is a solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. The one that we see on the video is a lunar eclipse. This is occur when the position of the earth is in between the sun and the moon, or during the full moon phase. So, the moon becomes dark because the earth blocks the sunlight from reaching the moon, while the solar eclipse occurs when the position of the moon is right between the sun and the earth, or during the new moon phase. So, the moon blocks some of the sunlight and casts the giant shadow. At the beginning, I asked you about what phases of the moon that you've seen at night. Well, actually, every month we can see the different phases of the moon because the moon always revolves around the earth. When the moon does this, not every time all parts get the sunlight. So that way we can see the different phases of the moon. There are 8 phases of the moon, which is new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, and waning crescent. In this experiment, we will make the simulation of the moon revolution that can make the 8 different phases of the moon. So, let's start the experiment. For this experiment, we need a globe, a ping pong ball, a pencil, a flashlight, and a dark room. The globe here will become the Earth. The ping pong ball, which is smaller than the globe, will become the moon. And the flashlight will be the sun that's shining on it so that we can see the faces. But first, we must push the pencil into the ping pong ball like this. Then, turn the flashlight on and face it toward the globe like this. Next, place the ping pong ball in between the globe and the flashlight. Still remember the 8 phases of the moon, right? So, all you have to do is move the ping pong ball around the globe and place it in the position of each phases. Don't forget to turn off the light in your room. The phases of the moon start from a position like this, where the moon positions is between the Earth and the Sun. This phase is called the new moon. In this position, only the dark part of the moon is visible from the Earth. Then the moon rotates, so that the position of the moon as seen from the Earth will be like this. This phase is called the waxing crescent, because a very small part of the right side of the moon is lit, while the rest is dark, and the shape is curved like a sickle. Then, the moon moves until it is a quarter turn from its initial position. This phase is called the first quarter. We can see that the right half of the moon is lit, while the left half is dark. After passing a quarter of a turn, the moon turns again to this position. When viewed from the Earth, it is going to be like this. Nearly all the moon is lit, while a very small part on the left side is dark. This phase is called a waxing gibbous. The moon turns again. In this position, the moon, the Earth, and the Sun are in a straight line. This is known as the full moon phase. As we can see, the whole moon is completely lit. After that, the moon moves to the next position. At this position, nearly all the moon is lit, while a very small part on the right side is still dark. This phase is called waning gibbous. Wait, we've seen another gibbous phase before, right? That is a waxing gibbous. Yeah, these two are almost similar, but the difference is in the position of the dark part, because the moon is constantly moving. After that, the moon turns to the last quarter phase. In this phase, the dark part also switches position from the first quarter phase. The left half of the moon is lit, while the right half is dark. Next, the moon is turned again and almost finished one cycle. In this position, from the Earth it is appear again a similar phase as before. We can see that a very small part of the left side of the moon is lit, while the rest is dark. This time is called the waning crescent phase. After that, the moon moves back to the initial position when the moon is completely dark, which we know as the full moon phase, and the cycle will repeat. That is the experiment this time. It's fun, isn't it? Now, take a look at your worksheet. There are a table like this, right? I'm sure you guys still remember the experiment earlier, so please complete the table and answer the following questions. Students, we already learned a lot about the phases of the moon and the eclipse, so we can conclude that the revolution of the moon around the Earth can make the 8 different phases of the moon, which is the new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, and waning crescent. During the full moon phase, when the Earth blocks sunlight shining on the moon, there will be a lunar eclipse. While during the new moon phase, when the moon blocks some of the sunlight shining on the Earth and casts a giant shadow, the solar eclipse will occur. So, that's all for this time. Thank you for joining. See you next time!